Bethesda is dead. The only people left there are clueless, talentless hacks that cannot do anything correctly, and all they care about is effectively gender politics. It is one of the saddest things that could have happened in gaming, considering how highly valued Bethesda was at one point. And now, people are losing hope that Elder Scrolls 6 is even going to be a worthwhile to buy game, which is insanity. But here we are.
Are Bethesda beginning to feel the heat as regards to the Elder Scrolls 6? A recent interview with the lead designer for Skyrim says that it's going to be almost impossible for the company to meet their customers' expectations, and there seems...
And the saddest things, the customer expectations are actually not that high. But Bethesda is just simply that low. Remember, the same people who made Starfield and called it a masterpiece are the same people making Elder Scrolls 6. The main story is going to be written by the same dude that did Starfield, and we know how that turned out. The guy literally went on multiple Twitter rants about how he is the greatest writer ever and how people just are too stupid to understand the greatness and depth of his storylines, which was a blatant cope, as everyone knows. And, well, it's on the same engine, it's with the same people. It's going to be a disaster, and people understand this. After Starfield came out, a week and two after it, people were commenting nonstop on my videos that after playing Starfield, they don't even know if they're going to buy Elder Scrolls 6 because it's probably going to be bad.
Seems to be a shroud looming over Bethesda that possibly their best days are behind them. Let's have a look, shall we? Hi everyone, it's Az here from Heel vs. Babyface. PC Gamer did an interview recently with Bruce Nesmith, a former Bethesda employee who was the lead game designer on Skyrim, also has worked on Elder Scrolls games going right back to Daggerfall, also the Fallout series, and Starfield, a game that I may have a little bit of a history with.
Show the clip.
Now, I certainly understand managing expectations in the form of a company that puts a game out that they didn't realize was going to absolutely explode upon the scene. Yes, suddenly they're...
Honestly, I think this is a coordinated effort in trying to say, oh, gamers' expectations are just too high. Because you know who also is currently saying that? Ubisoft. Yeah, they literally came out and said, Star Wars Outlaws is an amazing game, and if you don't think like that, you're a bigot. Well, that part was probably silent, but most likely that's also what they thought. But they literally said, oh, gamers' expectations are just too high. They expected God knows what from Star Wars Outlaws. We just delivered an awesome game, and that wasn't enough. CEO of Ubisoft. So yeah, I think game companies that are now complete trash, aka Blizzard, Bethesda, Ubisoft, and of the like, are now gonna be like, oh, gamers' expectations are just too high. Yeah, they actually are, but who cares? Deliver a good product or don't deliver at all. We literally don't care.
It does become a lot of expectation on your studio's shoulders to make the next game even better. And you've got a hungry, almost a rabid audience that want that to happen. However, that's not the case here. We're talking about Bethesda, and they've known monumental success since Morrowind, and that was back in 2002. If we look at the sales of the Elder Scrolls games since Morrowind, which itself sold 4 million units by 2010, Oblivion had sold 9.5 million units by 2015, and Skyrim had sold 30 million units by 2016. By the way, as of June of last year, Skyrim has now sold 60 million units.
As long as the credits keep rolling in, life's good.
I think it's also fair to...
Admittedly, Skyrim has so many collector's deluxe editions. Bethesda probably has lost track how many they have. They're releasing a new deluxe edition effectively like every 2 months at this point. It's insane.
To say that since Morrowind, the gameplay of these RPGs have been substantially streamlined, which has trimmed away some of the heavier RPG elements. However, with Skyrim now shifting 60 million copies, I also think it's fair to say that a balance has been found between making your RPG audience happy and also making an audience that aren't necessarily heavily into those elements also happy with the game. Something which is very, very difficult to balance. Believe it or not, it's been over 6 years since we had the official announcement of the Elder Scrolls 6 being in development, and in just less than 2 months' time, it's going to be 13 years.
Please, you can't do this. You did it last time, switching the camera from left to right. How dare you?
Is since the release of Skyrim. Fans may be indeed expectant, but with 13 years now passed since Skyrim, Bethesda are not rushing things, nor should they. They should get it right before it comes.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I have completely given up on any hope that Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna be a success. I think the story is gonna be as bland can be. Best case scenario, Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna start like this. You're some rando dude, congratulations, full die again, and there you go, your magic powers. Then you enter some kind of kingdom and go meet the king, and when you meet the king and have an audience with him, the king is like, I am the king of this place, I'm also gay, and, you know, you just go from there. I honestly think that's gonna happen. There's 100% Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna have a character that literally introduces them with just like, I'm gay, what now? There's no way that doesn't happen.
Out. But there is also another reason that makes these games so beloved, and it actually doesn't have anything to do with Bethesda and has a lot to do with the modding community. There are over 72,000 mods for Skyrim on Nexus and 27,000 mods on Steam. This is a game that's had its life thoroughly extended due to added content, better graphics, better outfits.
Yep, and now Bethesda is ruining it by creating the official mod store where, well, you just get sold Unity skins at a premium. It's pretty great.
Combat tweaks, magic tweaks, all kinds of things which to an RPG fan they can normally find in these incredibly made mods, because the modding community seems to have just as much passion, if at times not more so.
The modding community is insane. But when someone puts a paywall behind their mod, the modding community gets up in arms and wants to destroy that person because everything should be free. Yeah, the modding community is just insane. I don't even want to deal with that garbage.
Than the studio that's actually making the game itself. The modder community passion is so high. Earlier this month saw the release of Fallout London, a free mod that was created with the Fallout 4 engine.
Yeah, as the name implies, it's in London. And the moment you kill a rat, it drops 5 shanks. The average NPC drops 7. It's pretty insane and accurate to real-life lore.
To recreate the world of Fallout in the location of the capital of the UK.
Every school still has working metal detectors before you enter it. What a time to be alive.
Personally believe this is what Fallout 4 should have been from the get-go, but modders made that dream happen. And in 2020...
No, and Bethesda tried to ruin this dream by releasing their next-gen update that completely wrecked modding and everything else in the game, and it seems like Bethesda has absolutely no will to fix it. And best part, it's a bug that was fixed in a previous version. This is Bethesda's classic 1 step forward, 15 steps back and into a puddle type of strategy, okay? Man, the Starfield Meteor saga, when there was a bug when a meteor followed you constantly, fixed one time. Oh, what's that? Turns out, oh, it's not fixed. Well, back to the drawing board. fixed this for a second time. Oh, what's that? It's not fixed? Fixed for a third time, and now currently no one knows if the bug is still active or not because people have just given up on reporting it.
5, we're gonna see the release of Skyblivion, the Elder Scrolls Oblivion remade using the Skyrim engine. Not only have modders enhanced these games and extended the lifespan of them exponentially, but more importantly for Bethesda, they've been buying them much needed time to create the next installments. And that
well, they already did. It's called Fallout 76. And that did not go well. That was one of the most hilariously buggy releases ever. Dude, Fallout 76 was the experience of bugs because I played that shit. Okay, listen, I played that shit. And, well, it is an understatement when I say you couldn't even play that game 1 minute when it launched without encountering a bug that completely ruined everything. It was either it took you out of the immersion, it was just something completely broken or whatever. Dude, that game was so riddled with bugs, it was insane. You literally could not play a single minute without encountering some kind of enormous bug. It was great. It was great.
That is invaluable in cost. And another thing about the Fallout series and the Elder Scrolls series is they are beloved. They have a very rich fan base. So when you have the sword and sorcery aspect taken care of with the Elder Scrolls, you have the post-apocalyptic and gun fantasy taken care of with the Fallout series.
I don't know about that. The next Fallout that we're gonna get is probably less post-apocalypse, more Cthulhu mythos. Because if you haven't paying attention to Fallout 76, the Fallout game that they do kind of update with more microtransactions and more microtransactions, well, you will notice that everything's pretty much Cthulhu or mystery nowadays. Now, I'm not saying it's because women are a fan of those things, but maybe there is a coincidence there. Who knows? A small quinky dink, as one might say. But yeah, the future for the Fallout franchise is literally just the Cthulhu mythos. It's not even going to be the post-apocalypse, it's just going to be, oh, look at that, there's cultists right there doing some stuff, and there's Mothman, and, that type of garbage. That's the future of the Fallout series.
Logic dictates that the next element that you go to is the stars and recreate the same experience on a multitude of planets out there. And that's where Starfield comes in.
Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what?
Fucking pronouns! I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity. Okay.
Hello.
We know how this story goes. I'm, of course, the big poopy pants man that had a shout at the poor billion-dollar corporation and their video game.
Shame on you for that.
Because, to me, it betrayed...
Probably half of Bethesda's staff considered committing self-deletion.
Every element of what made Bethesda games...
Shame they didn't.
Great. In some never seen before imagery, these are the DMs between myself and Cara Lynn of the Ripperverse, formerly of Limited Run Games, before she dared to have the wrong opinion and was subject to a massive cancellation campaign. However...
No, you shouldn't have the wrong opinions then. What do you mean?
Much happier now in her current role, she's given me permission to share this exchange between us as I send her a couple of pictures of the Starfield pad that I bought and also the Starfield headset that I bought with the message underneath it, "I'm ready. Now please don't let me down," which was sent...
Oh, as you sweet dear summer child, did you not watch the promotion material for Starfield? Did you not watch the roughly 0.1 second gameplay footage that they showed? Just watching those split seconds of gameplay that Bethesda gave us, pausing and looking at it, I already knew that Starfield's gonna be a goddamn disaster.
On the 22nd
And by the way, I was pretty much right about almost everything I predicted. The enemies either dying in one shot or being stupid bullet sponges that get stun locked. That's literally Starfield.
of August 2023, which is of course over a week before the launch of the game.
Also, the rainbow flags on the Starfield merch are completely not dead giveaways of something being wrong.
Clearly, these look like the actions of a man just ready to hate on a game for no good reason. Kara asks, have I bought the collector's edition? I reply, no, I've just ordered the digital collector's edition to get the 5 days early access. As a streamer, that shit is invaluable, which is true. So next Friday, September the 1st, I'll be hammering it. Please, God, be good. Again, sent on the 22nd of August. Kara responds, totally agree. I got the collector's edition, so I'll get to play early as well. It's my most anticipated game for a few years now, and I'm right there with you on hoping it lives up to the expectations. Oopsies.
Yeah, there's no hoping there. There was no hope that Starfield's gonna be good. And now the expansion Shattered Spaces soon. Soon, boys, we're gonna have some fun with the Shattered Space. It's gonna be amazing, said literally no one. Dude, I can't wait to see how dumb and stupid the story is. Because again, from the non-existent story that we already know, that we have seen from the previews and trailers and hype material of Shattered Space, the story already doesn't make a single shred of sense. It's just nothing makes sense there. The zealots, the this, the that, the how things are happening. It's already a complete jumbled mess of no sane person would ever be able to understand.
My best friend works at Bethesda and her boyfriend worked on the game, so I seen bits of BTS stuff on it. Everything she showed me looked amazing. I then asked Kara, is Starfield single player or is there a multiplayer element to it? To which she tells me it's a single player game, and I go, KK. And that's on the 23rd of August of last year, a week
as you missed 1K
before the early access commences. There's no denying that we're both going into Starfield with the best intentions, hoping that the game's gonna be good. Kara shows me the Starfield watch that she's got. This beautiful...
By the way, I love the Starfield watch. At the start of the game, you get given a watch, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be important, and the watch does nothing. The watch literally does nothing. There's no point in the watch even existing. It's hilarious.
Full thing.
No, there's no point in the Starfield story existing either. It's just so dumb. You have okay. There are so many hilarious stories you can tell about the story. The pirates that don't kill people because that would be evil. The mechs that are in lore but no one uses because they were outlawed, including the bad organizations. Let's see what else. There's just so much. This places with distorted gravity fields where things just float in their ancient ruins that people have never seen before, and you know, you need to find because they're hidden, but when you go to a planet, you find the ruin, you can literally see that 3 steps away, there's some kind of mining operation happening there, and no one's just like, I wonder what's this floaty shit right there. Seems kind of crazy, but I guess I'll just be a miner. Not a big deal. There's just so much from this. Also, spaceships have the ability to scan worlds to see gravitational anomalies and whatnot. Doesn't matter. No one has found these ruins anyway, even though it's like the ruins are literally in the middle of an industrial area at this point. It's hilarious. The dialogues, oh god, how everyone treats you like, you know, like you're some kind of long lost cousin of theirs that they have known since they were 2 and you're best friends. It's just great. It's just great.
thing just arrived, and I jokingly respond to, oh nice, now you can unlock the lodge door, which requires it in the game. Kara states that she hasn't started the game yet and she will this evening after work. I reply by saying the gameplay's solid, characters are awful, and the woke stuff is insufferable. We all know what happened next.
The gameplay is questionable. So the first weapon you get is a Gremlin Greevil, or what the fuck ever it's called. It has like 40 or 50 ammo in a magazine. And yeah, at the very start of the game, you literally need to put a magazine and a half into a basic enemy to kill them if they're human. It's hilarious.
Next, the Starfield rant, and that was approximately 7 hours of gameplay in, but I then added an extra 20 or so hours on top of that in a desperate attempt to give this game as best a chance as.
Nah, there's so few rare games that actually truly do get better after, like, 4 hours. But this was a cope selling point that the Bethesda fanboys said at the start of Starfield. Oh, the game gets really good after New Game Plus 7 and 250 hours in. Oh, you just need to play it more, then it gets good. About the time the game gets good, you have already gaslit yourself and you're one step away from a rope and tree branch, okay? That's how bad it is. It never gets good.
Possible, and it never materialized. As a customer, I was exceedingly disappointed, and the thing that I was disappointed the most in is Starfield felt antithetical to what made a Bethesda open world game fun.
Yep, that is exactly right. You can't do anything in Starfield that you can do in other Bethesda games. It's insane.
Modders seemingly in agreement as they give up on attempting to even put multiplayer into Starfield on the basis that the game is trash.
Yep.
So before we continue down this thread, let's just jump for the...
But wait, now you can buy a plushie mod that doesn't do anything in the game for a whopping $10. I hope you enjoy.
Moment to this interview with Bruce Nesmith, where he stresses of the Elder Scrolls 6 that it will be, quote, almost impossible for the game to meet the expectation of fans. And before I continue, I just want to stress that I am in no way, shape or form attempting to do any gotchas when it comes to Bruce. I have an incredible amount of respect for him and what he's done at Bethesda with both the Elder Scrolls series.
I don't. I'm just gonna put it out right there. I don't. Maybe the guy did something good 10 years ago or whatever, but now he's trash and he deserves no pity.
And the Fallout series. All I'm trying to do is put things into perspective from a customer's point of view. A company is always going to put internal pressures on itself, no matter what or how successful they are. The fans who want to buy Elder Scrolls 6, their expectation is going to be almost impossible to meet, Nesmith said. And marketing department...
By the way, that's such a blatant, sad, pathetic lie. Because the expectations of Elder Scrolls are the same as, well, effectively the same that we expect from any other Bethesda game. Open world exploration, many types of ways that you can play the game, good roleplay elements, good story, and all of that stuff. That's it. We don't expect anything else. You don't have to rediscover the wheel. You don't have to make it better. You just need to do these things, and it should not be hard. But it's probably going to be hard considering Bethesda's current situation.
Departments just put their head in their hands and weep at this, because it's like, okay, if it isn't perfect, if it doesn't get a 95 plus on Metacritic, we're a failure. Ultimately, yes. Who cares about a Metacritic score? It should be about sales and how well the game actually sold and the feedback that you're getting from the people who are playing the game, which doesn't necessarily happen on a ratings website like Metacritic or elsewhere. Now, this of course might be linked in to potential bonus aspects within the company. Way back when Bethesda hired Obsidian to make Fallout New Vegas, it was under some very...
Oh god, Fallout New Vegas. Every time someone says Fallout New Vegas 3 times in the mirror, Todd Howard feels a chill down his spine. Imagine being Todd Howard. Your magnus opus is Fallout 3. You make it, and then some random studio in less time, less resources makes Fallout New Vegas and its critically acclaimed the best Fallout game of all time. Oh man, Todd Howard has been trying to kill the legacy of New Vegas ever since, and now in the Fallout TV show, he finally can nail it down. New Vegas is dead and never gonna happen again. Ah, Todd Howard, that's what happens when you're a complete megalomaniac. This is what happens. This is what happens when someone under 6 feet gets to choose decisions for a company. Okay, I'm not saying men under 6'0" are bad, but you are, and you know deep down I'm right, and there's nothing you can say against that. It is what it is.
Very specific timescales, and of course they were using the Bethesda engine, Eek. They were paid to do this, however Bethesda did offer them an additional bonus should the game receive an 85 Metacritic score from the critics. Sadly for Obsidian, it scored 84.
Now, the true meat of this situation is the fact that there are whispers and rumors, non-substantiated or anything like that, that Bethesda, seeing that the game is actually going to get an 85 Metacritic score, paid a couple of, not necessarily paid, but asked a couple of favors from some outlets so they don't get the score.
Single point away from the bonus criteria, and because of that Bethesda did not pay it out. A lot of gamers felt this was unfair because Fallout New Vegas is seen in a lot of people's eyes as the best Fallout game that's ever been created, and
by far best choices, best gameplay, best everything. It's just not even close. Second best one is Fallout 4. Fallout 3 is overrated trash, get the fuck out. And that's kind of it.
Of course, it wasn't even made by Bethesda. However, if you look deep...
Yeah, the irony of the best Bethesda game not even being made by Bethesda. Todd Howard is going to spin in his grave even a long time after.
Into the story, most people at Obsidian apparently understood the criteria of the bonus and understood that the criteria wasn't met. They were still paid for their work and accept that. They also accepted that when the game released, it was bug-ridden and did have severe problems with it that have been patched out over the course of the years. But I think it's fair to say, just looking at it 1 point away, that is tough. Real tough. I can only speculate here, but this might be a reason why Bruce and the marketing departments view things from a Metacritic perspective. Maybe internal bonuses are dependent on the score that it receives.
Yeah, obviously.
On this site. I would say personally though, I find sites like this utterly redundant these days. Games journalism is not what it used.
Isn't Metacritic technically like the best that we currently have? It is redundant, but isn't it still the best that we technically have?
To be, and it's not as objective as it used to be. They seem to be all in defending L Corporation, and therefore can you truly get a legitimate score for how they feel about the game? Or are they simply pandering to the company in an effort to gain access, early review copies, interviews, etc.? Bruce continues by saying Elder Scrolls 6 is undoubtedly going to be an amazing game, but it's going to be
they said the same about Starfield and Fallout 76.
Compared to all the previous games that Bethesda made. I don't want to put words into Bruce's mouth, but I'm sure he'll agree with me when I say so is every other Bethesda game. Oblivion was compared to Morrowind, Skyrim compared to both, Fallout 4 compared to Fallout 3, and Starfield, which we'll return back to very shortly, compared to both of those franchises. Having an
Starfield was more or less compared to literally everything.
83
because it didn't have anything of the what you would expect from Bethesda.
Metacritic score, it only has a user score of 6.8, this being based off only 90 critics and 12,500 users. However, on Steam, with nearly 104,000 reviews, it only comes in at mixed. Todd Howard attributing the poor...
By the way, but Starfield's user score is constantly dropping because the average person who has no idea what Bethesda is, who has no idea what any of this is, comes in, plays the game, and understands it's shit. That's the reality. The majority of people playing Starfield are looking at it as a complete disappointment, a boring, non-consequential game with a lackluster story and no roleplay elements, and bad shooting.
Poor performance of Starfield with users because it's different than you've seen from us before, which we all know is an utter crock of shite. So let's get back to that thread that I was tugging at earlier. You see, Starfield felt like a regression, not a progression when it came to Bethesda. The reason why the Elder Scrolls and Fallout are so much fun to play, even though they are ultimately bug-ridden when they come out, that can always be fixed, is the journeys that you have along the way, the exploration and the fun and trouble you can get yourself into. You get a quest to go from A to B. Well, guess what? When you go into that kind of a world, you go to C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M organically and find yourself having wonderful adventures in that.
At least the fat peasant was running slowly.
Space. Every time you go into a dungeon, every time you go into a mine, it's different. They've all been individually created, so you never feel as if you're rehashing content. The actual journey from point A to B is the fun element. The journey is what makes these games so interesting to explore, and Starfield had none of that. It had all of the bugs and the terrible AI that came along with that, and it had none of the explorative nature which makes these franchises so great. It was a loading screen to take off. It was a loading screen to warp. It was a loading...
Yeah. The average player who does not know how to perfectly navigate the map with no loading screens, well, there's no way. The minimum loading screens you're gonna get for navigation is 3. But if you don't know what is the fastest way of fast traveling and doing all things effectively, you're going to have 5 loading screens from getting a place to place. Yeah, it'd be great.
Screen to land. All of the adventure along the way had been taken away from you. Thousands of worlds where only about 10% of them actually had something on them, and there was no guarantee that the something that was on them was worth any sort of exploration either. The caves were procedurally generated, so you could walk in.
If you have been in 2 caves in Starfield, chances are the 3rd cave is going to be a repeat of the 1st or 2nd cave. If you have been in 3 random locations in Starfield that are not caves, congratulations. The 4th location you're going to go is going to be a copy-paste of already existing locations. It's just the random tile generation just had 2 or 3 layouts for everything. It's just sad.
Into one cave and it'd be exactly the same layout as another cave that you went into moments ago, therefore making the world
also, the world is just so stupid. Look at this place, okay? How does any of this make sense? You know what these are? Do you know what these are? Well, Bethesda sure as fuck doesn't know, because these things are supposed to prevent people from driving places. They're not lamps. These things are supposed to prevent people from driving their cars places. First of all, Starfield didn't have cars when it came out. Second of all, this is Neon, a planet literally made on a goddamn oil rig effectively, so there's no cars to begin with. So, why is this here? Don't know. Look at this lift. I hate this so much about Starfield. It's absolute insanity. Look at this. Look at this. Like, what the hell is this? It's a lift. There's some kind of rando panel here. There's a thing here that doesn't make sense. There's a cut here, a cut there, a cut there. Two ventilation shafts, another ventilation shaft here. There's a thing here. There's a thing there. Every single square inch of this game is just filled with just random garbage because Bethesda finally could put random garbage everywhere. Every single location you're gonna go there, you're gonna find boxes upon boxes upon boxes upon boxes. So many boxes, in fact, that the world you're not gonna understand how the universe can contain them in this location. And you're gonna find tarps. You're gonna find boxes, tarps, lighting, and the most fucking rando places ever. It's gonna be wild.
Feel incredibly small. Not only that, repetitive, dull, boring. The game wasn't interesting. But let's also just talk about the silliness as well for a moment, shall we? I'm pretty sure most of you remember this. Fucking pronouns! That was the moment that got all the progressives really mad with me. Oh, look at this bald fat guy getting all triggered by pronouns. An element that...
It's true. His head is shaped like a perfect egg.
That only takes a couple of seconds in the video game. How silly, how pathetic. Of course, it was a lot more than just that.
Well, why is it there in the first place if it's such a small thing? Also, everything in this game affects me. Everything you do ever affects everyone else. In some way, it probably does, okay? So stop. It does affect me. Me choosing to not play Starfield is not good enough. Considering I want to live in a better world, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fucking complain about Starfield being shit. Because if you don't, you get another Starfield.
Displaying
When you start eating shit, you don't stop eating shit.
preferred pronouns, and also now removing male and female, replacing it with body type 1 and body type 2.
Beautiful.
Displayed that Bethesda had fallen to the gender ideology.
Listen, after Dragon Age Veilguard has now top surgery scars, you know that Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna have 20 different types of surgery scars if you want them, because obviously. Anyway, that was Az from Heel vs. Babyface. 10 out of 10. Have a nice day. Bye.